Welcome to episode 48 of DM Podcast. We've got the team back together. Mick and Mark has been able to make this podcast. Now listen, before we just go into a bit more detail, I'd like to mention that we've started trying to organise to film the podcast, but it's kind of got earlier and earlier and earlier. And it's now the 21st of April, and we're talking about last week's news. But this isn't actually going live till the 30th of April. So we've started to get a little bit too eager now. So this is the last week where it's quite far in advance. Next one, we're going to be closer to the upload date, because in this episode, we're going to be talking about the bank holiday weekend. We're going to be talking about the strike, which is up and coming in about 9 days, 10 days. But while you're watching this, it's tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? So we're a little bit too premature, so we're going to change that going forward. But I'd like to let you know that we're talking about the Andy Burnham thing, trying to get out to town plates and a few other little bits and bobs. It's going to be a good podcast, to be honest. Quite a few big news things has happened in the last week. And we got the full team together, which is handy. So, as always, we're just going to start the podcast nice and simple with literally what have we been all up to. And since Mick has been missing, let's go to Mick first. So, Mick, what have you been up to this past week or so?
It feels like a lot's gone on, personal wise.
Because the kids are still off
kids
school.
Being off school is one, but then we've had the bombshell of like we have to find a new house. Yeah,
that's first we've heard as well. You haven't even put that in the WhatsApp group, have you? What's happening? Without going too personal.
Basically, landlord's mortgage renewal is due, and he's selling up.
And do you reckon, are you going to have to go out then, or is there any way you can put in an offer or something, or?
It's not till July, so we could probably stretch out till maybe August. Depends how fast he sells the house, to be fair.
But, are you gonna consider putting an offer in, or are you gonna go elsewhere?
No, when we had our third child, we were like, we're probably gonna have to move because we're outgrowing the size of the house anyway. So it's not a major for us because it's just putting a rocker up our ass. You know
it's
what
just
I mean?
force your hand, really, ain't it?
Yeah. It's just fell of a bad time because with the career move and now now got to look for houses as well. So that kind of, as much as it's going to be a godsend when it happens, it's just a sudden hit, boom, whoa.
Yeah.
So then I ended up like taking all week off, and I've worked Saturday, Sunday.
So how was work Saturday, Sunday with I guess Puma over the bank holiday weekend?
I don't know whether this is normal for bank holiday weekends now, because me being back on Uber pretty much full time. I've never, ever, in all my taxi days when I've done normal taxis like Uber and Alpha and Botanic and XL, everyone I've worked, every company I've worked, I have never seen town so deserted in all my taxi days of a bank holiday. Sunday, on a bank holiday Sunday, I have never been able to free flow drive down Seal Street. It's
By the way, outside Liverpool, that's literally the strip of like the club.
With clubs and pubs, yeah. So it's normally bumper to bumper, or you're dodging pedestrians either side, crossing the road, going across to pubs, to the different pubs. Driving down it, and you could just bouncers standing on the door playing rock, paper, scissors, mate. That's how quiet it was. Honest to God. Standing there, they're just talking to each other, and one of them are like that, and others on the phone just thingy, and you could just see through the bars, and the bars are just empty. And I'm like, I've seen busier Tuesdays than this.
People have said, haven't they? People are saying that is Uber actually dead? Is the taxis dead? It's actually just the actual whole trade's dead because no one's got any money. It's not just too many drivers, out of town drivers or whatever. It is literally the taxis are a luxury, aren't they? So is going out
as well. When you think about it now, if you go on a night out, how much is it?
It's very expensive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
it's
that's the issue we've got, and we've spoken about this before, Mick, about like people say, "Oh, it's dead. Uber's dead. Taxis are dead." But it's people aren't moving out. People aren't paying for taxis to go out. You said last night one of the busiest nights of like going out and partying, and you're saying it was flipping dead. Do you know what I mean?
bank
So if
holidays are
town's dead,
usually
the taxis are dead, aren't they? Because
like
no one's going to be going out to town.
I've known bank holidays, right? I've known Fridays and Saturdays to be quiet,
Yeah,
normal, and then normally when that happens, your Sunday just goes boom.
yeah.
But it didn't even. I mean, I went out, I done my hours, and I done over £20 an hour, still. But that's normally of a bank holiday, you're touching
80s.
30,
Yeah, easy.
30s plus sometimes of a bank holiday. It's normally a big bonus to us.
So-
Now it just seems like your weekdays are 15 to 18 at tops, and then you're coming into 2022 on the weekend.
Was it a rate thing though? Mick?
Regardless of what's on. Do you know
Was
what
it
I
a
mean?
rate thing though? Is that what you mean, or just foot flow quiet?
Foot flow.
The
Was
rate, I
very,
think the
very
rates have
quiet.
always been bad, haven't they? I don't think the rates are going to get any better.
Yeah.
Were the rates bad as well, Mick? The pay
Rates-
mile and that?
They were just like a normal Saturday night.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, to be totally honest, on the Sunday the rates were a little bit cheaper than the Saturday. Do you know what I mean?
Which means it was probably quieter. How about yourself,
Terribly
Mark?
honest.
What have you been up to this week?
Had the weekend off, really. I'd no, I know.
Yeah, that's
I'd no-
bigger news than
Whoa.
Uber's quiet, that. Jesus Christ. Mark, DM news incoming. Mark had more than an hour off. Go on, mate. What, so you had a nice weekend off? Family or what? Just chilling?
You know, I can't remember what I did.
To
It
the
was just
blur.
nice. It was just nice not doing anything, basically.
Yeah. What about your airports or Uber? Have you
Been
done any
very
of that
quiet.
the last week?
Probably the last 7 or 8 days been very, very quiet on airports. The week before we're very, very busy. Last week's been quiet. So I've done no airports this weekend. I've done the one this morning. Did a bit of Uber this morning when I got back. And I've got another one at 12 o'clock going out to Manchester.
Do you know what you're mentioning airports, Mark? I've had a good point. The last 2 weeks has been the summer holidays. Normally, I'm quite busy during the summer holidays because everyone's got the kids off, haven't they? I think that these 2 weeks on the summer holidays have been quieter on the airports as well as on Uber, in my opinion, anyway. I haven't seen much jobs floating about in the groups, like spare jobs and overflow jobs and stuff like that. And it does feel like everyone's that skint. Not many are travelling during the holidays because it's even more expensive and they're going for the cheaper out-of-holiday flights, maybe. So have you noticed a bit of a... How about yourself, Mick? Have you noticed a bit of a downfall on the airport bookings this last 2 weeks compared to the 2 weeks before? Or has it been quite consistent?
No, it's as far as I'm aware, we've still got plenty of bookings in. Do you know what I mean? It's. I think it's more of a. Yeah, the bookings are still there. If I was to compare, maybe there is a drop. I don't know, but I'd have to look.
You have to actually look into it.
Yeah, looking at the diary every day. There's bookings there. There's jobs in constantly. Do you know what I mean? So if I'd have to physically go and check the numbers.
Yeah. Because what I've noticed, like in the group, the big groups and the overflow groups, where people like, anyone gets a man here and help, or there's a 12 a.m. here, there's a 2 p.m. Sometimes you see them scatting about, 1 or 2 a day. I haven't seen any in the overflow groups or any in the big groups. Nothing. It feels like the companies can handle the work. Do you know what I mean? Where it's not busy, where it's overflowing. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it feels like normally, like these 2 weeks are normally like the overflow groups are chocker. So it feels like the whole trade's down. General taxis, Uber, airports, do you know what I mean? And like you're saying, though, people going out less. People are skint in general. Do you know what I mean? People can't afford the flipping household bills and food. How are you going to afford an Uber or an airport?
I might not in like. Do you think the footy has a thingy knowing what's coming with the football wise, and it's all in people's head? Because now I get people in, and I get 70-year-old women talking about football these days. That's never normally happened. Do you know what I mean? Like I have TalkSport on, and they're not like massively talking about it, but they just know about it more. than what normal thing is. So I don't know whether, because they know what's coming with, obviously, with Liverpool probably going to win the league and the parade and everything else coming up, is that on people's minds? Or, well, I'm going to save myself for that.
So do you
I know
reckon
that's
they're
a mental way, like,
saving
but
a few weeks of money for the parade? But that'll land to Liverpool. But what about, oh yeah, let's go to, this is why I like multiple areas. Mark, how are you're feeling, like, as in, like, because obviously with Liverpool, Mick might be right here with the people saving themselves for the big celebrations next month. Do you know what I mean? But how, like, are you feeling for Sheffield? Does it look quieter, or, like, have you been on Uber much? Has it been quieter this holiday and stuff like that?
Well, our 2 weeks holidays were like a week before yours, weren't they? So
Yeah.
so your first week was our second week, and the first week airports, the first week were dead. Second week it were busy, and then last week it were quiet. But the taxis in general, the feeling it has been quiet. I couldn't comment on this weekend though, because obviously I never went out and I've not spoken to anyone. I'm not spoken to anyone about what they've been doing, like taxi wise.
Only in our WhatsApp group,
Yeah.
and most of them said it's been pretty crap, hasn't it? Even the lads down south and up in the northeast, they've all mentioned that it's been a bit of a weird, quiet bank holiday, innit?
so I'm just trying to work out whether, like, yesterday Liverpool could have won the league if Arsenal lost and Liverpool won. Has that affected it? People are thinking, oh no, they're going to win the league next week now. I'm going to save myself. I'm going to get a taxi home and come out next weekend instead.
Imagine if you want it.
That wouldn't affect like Newcastle, or would it?
No,
or
that
like,
wouldn't affect it. No, to be fair, so it's across the
you know
board.
what I mean?
So,
If you've seen the WhatsApp group over the weekend, it's been more than just Liverpool saying it's quiet. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And that's going to be talking. Obviously, I know the footy and stuff like that, but this Saturday, Everton was at home. Now, no, they don't bring much tourism and stuff, Everton, but Everton was at home on the Saturday, the bank holiday. Liverpool was away on the Sunday, and it was generally quiet. It's just crazy. It's just strange. It's just mad. Do you know what I mean? And that's where we talk about, like, people say, like, oh, out of town plates. So when Liverpool's at home, there's loads of out of town plates. People talk about it, don't they? Like, you see your Birminghams and your Wolverhamptons and all that. It's the same with Ainsley the other week. Have you heard about Andy Burnham? And obviously he's trying his best to get them out of Manchester, because what was a scary fact? I think he said something stupid like 40% of private hire drivers in Manchester, or 50%,
45
are plated outside of Manchester, like Knowsley, Sefton and Wolverhampton.
That's not the scary fact, Matty. The scary fact is the fact that he turned round saying all this, and then next minute he turns back round to us and goes, "It's the law."
Yeah.
That's how he finished his combo, didn't he?
Hang on. Did you not know that?
Yeah.
You're a mayor.
He's trying to change it, though, isn't he?
Is he though, or is he just putting the front
It's not going to happen, though, is it?
Because how does he not know that?
Oh no, he does know. But what I'm trying to say, he does know. He's mentioned in the past, but he just knows that his hands are tied. But I think it's more a political agenda as well. What were you saying, Mark?
It's just never going to happen, is it? It won't. It's too much money involved, I think. Unless the government comes out and says that it all needs changing, nothing will be changed. Even if Burnham goes and asks, can we change it?
I don't think they're going to change it. It's already been changed. Why would they revert it back now?
But the main reason he wants is not about them taking our work and nothing like that. It's more of a safety aspect, isn't it? If Manchester City Council has the rules of their drivers to be set requirements, do you know what I mean? Like, we only want our vehicles 5 years old, or we want 6 monthly tests, or we want specific security measures, do you know what I mean? Or whatever, with maybe cameras or whatever, or signage. They want these certain restrictions for their vehicles, and then another out-of-town plate works the area that they can't control. As an example, Manchester, I think they still have stickers on the car or magnets. Wolverhampton don't.
Yeah, but at the time of cross-border hire, surely they thought about this.
Maybe not.
When the
Maybe not.
decision was made, do you know what I mean? At the end
Maybe
of the
not.
day, it's still another council. So the ruling for that council, there must be minimum things that they have to adhere to.
Yeah, but they
There
don't.
must be
Obviously,
there
it's an
must
old
be a
council.
minimum. There must be a borderline at every single council, minimum wise. I think maybe that needs stricten up
Yeah, yeah.
rather
Yeah,
than
Well, that, I
we've
was
talked
going to
about this,
say
Mark.
that. What?
Mark, with Sheffield, your age limit's 5 years, isn't it? Well, what's Kyle going through now?
What do you mean? What?
The age limit of a car,
They've just upped it from 5 years to 6 years.
right?
So,
So 6 years
yeah,
old. So what's that? 19 plate,
19 plate, yeah. Depending
right?
when
Do
it
you
was
still you
registered.
still need to have your magnets on?
Yeah. You've got to have the Sheffield number plate, the number, obviously the badge on back and the magnets on the side with your number of your badge on thing, and then whatever
Yeah.
taxi firm you're using.
And then your
your
also
door magnets
your
outside.
auto license needs a driving test, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. So Kyle's just obviously in the process of doing that, right?
Yep.
So the Sheffield Council, they want their drivers to have vehicles 6 years old.
Yep.
They want that all the drivers to have a basic driving test.
Yep.
Strict knowledge test, or all the training and stuff you got to go through. It's a very strict blah 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 blah. But because of UK law, a Wolverhampton car can come in with his 15-year-old car or whatever they are with no stickers on. Those drivers didn't have to go through your strict driving rules and everything else. And I think that's the issue. So Sheffield Council want their private hire vehicles to follow this restrictions or these requirements, but the out of town plates don't have to follow those same rules. And that's
That's
the
what.
issue, I think, about the cross border hiring.
Yeah.
Not about taking our work or coming here and taking out. It's all about that.
Well, that's
Councils
what I think.
want their own talent.
Yeah,
Hey, Mark.
that's what I think is going to happen though, because everyone's calling for this cross bordering malarkey in Wolverhampton to do one. Basically, I think the only way it's what's going to happen, and I can see it's going to happen. It might not happen. I can see it happening though. Is that each council will be given a guideline of what they have to have, right? From hierarchy, yeah, whoever that is. And that's just going to annoy more taxi drivers because you're going to have to jump through more hoops to get on the trade or carry on doing the trade. That's what I think is going to happen, because you're going to get rid of them, not get rid of them, but make it harder for them, bring the numbers down. I just think Sheffield, Liverpool, I just think getting your license or maintain your license, it's going to be harder to maintain, I think, because we're asking for, because we're saying, like, I don't know, Wolverhampton, there could be safety issues, right? They've got to stipulate what certain guidelines per council. Do you know what I mean? It's like Sheffield's quite hard to do the test. Liverpool's the same, yeah, quite hard.
Yeah.
Like, I just think they're just going to make it a lot more harder.
But Sefton and Knowsley, which borders Liverpool, a lot easier. That's why,
they'll probably bring them up then, won't they? They'll probably bring up to the Sheffield, to the Liverpool's council's guidelines, yeah? Make it harder for them.
Possibly. Like I said, we don't know what's going to go on. But fun little rumour. I know rumours are rumours, it's not fact. But a lot of lads who are Wolverhampton plated at the moment in Liverpool, work in Liverpool, probably from Liverpool, who work for Delta. I don't know if you heard this rumour yourself, Mick, as well. Is they're actually pulling them in to the office and getting them to start the process of the Sefton badge.
Yeah.
Now, it's only a rumour, but this could mean that they even know something that's coming up, or they're just preparing for the future. Do you know what I mean? But the fact that the rumour is that Delta are trying to get the Wolverhampton plated drivers over onto Sefton badge, what does that mean? Do you know what I mean? Have you heard that rumour, Mick?
I've heard it, but I think, is it true?
Or is it just a proactive thing of like, let's just not risk it. Let's just get you the process, or get you the start of the process. Because I've said to people, if you're Wolverhampton plated or out of town plated and you're in a different city, start the process of your local council while you're still working, just to have that backup or that preparation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if you're a Sefton plated Manchester driver, perfect example. I think there's like 10,000 of them. all Manchester lads live in Manchester, work in Manchester, but the Sefton plate, which is a Liverpool badge. Start one of the greater Manchester badges while you're still licensed. Cover yourself just in case something does happen in the future. Do you know what I mean? Because I was actually telling you about the... it's on DM News. I'm doing a video of it. It's coming live. Well, it'll be live next week. Just gone. Because this is pre-recorded. But there was a Wolverhampton plated driver got caught on Dashcam, and an Uber driver, Liverpool Uber driver, saved him from either big points or a crash because he tried to do a U-turn on Victoria Street in Liverpool, which is a well-known one-way street.
No.
So I'm assuming he's either doesn't know the road signs or he's an out-of-town plate or he's an out-of-town driver. Do you know what I mean? And that's what's kind of caused the conversation to spur up again. Has he come to work for the weekend, but he's not 100% sure of the area, or you might have dropped off and stayed and worked? Do you know what I mean?
Probably a bit of both.
Possibly. What do you reckon, Mick?
I can't work it out. I don't know whether, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm thinking it's just social media rumour, isn't it?
What is?
The
Delta thing?
Yeah, the Delta thing. Yeah.
No, I'm on about the Wolverhampton driver who done a bouncer on Victoria Street. Do you reckon he was an out-of-town driver?
What? Yeah, it's got to be, hasn't he? If you're not and you're doing that on purpose, mate, you need your badge stripping off you anyway, don't you?
Mate, before I even started driving, and you know, don't you, that like Victoria Street's a one-way. Do you know what I mean? The fact that he tried to do a bouncer on Victoria Street. Honestly, God, Mark, right? Have you got a famous one-way street in like the city centre? Do you know what I mean? Like everyone just knows it's a one-way street.
Yeah.
I don't
He was
even.
literally one of them. Imagine like a famous street in like Sheffield, and then someone tried to do a bouncer on that famous street, mate. That's literally what happened. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's kind of kicked up the fuss. Oh, coming here and working here, because a lot of people say like there's loads of lads on near yours, Mick, actually, off Seal Street and all them. They work, they like stay in all Airbnbs. So a group of 10 of them come from Birmingham. Do you know what I mean? And like staying at Airbnb and sharing Airbnb to work the weekend and stuff, and then drive back to Birmingham. I don't know how true it is. Same again. Rumours. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously it must be happening.
There's no excuse for that bouncer, mate, is there? Let's be honest. I'm flabbergasted. I'm still trying to think how he's fought.
Is there signposts and everything saying one way?
Yeah.
It must be blind and all then.
No, but also
all the lanes are going arrow to that way, and
so there's arrows and all.
Yeah. But also as well, mate, is when he was parked up.
A driverless car.
What?
I'm sure it weren't a driverless car.
Yeah. But I promise you, mate, right? It was actually where it is. You see in the dashcam footage, there was regular cars driving. So he knew there's only 2 lanes. And he knew, like, both lanes are getting taken by cars. And then he just tried to do a U-turn. I just don't know. But talking about driverless cars, you give me a little memory there. Did you see the one in America? He was trying to, a driverless car it was a taxi, like a Waymo, was trying to get round the drive-through at a Chick-fil-A drive-through. And as they entered the drive-through, completely just shut down or packed in and blocked the drive-through, and everyone was causing murder. And it's once again questioning, are they going to be replacing our jobs anytime soon? Do you know what I mean? I reckon it's going to be a gimmick for years, mate. I can't see. I think it's going to be a gimmick for years.
I think
you might be
eventually
able to
it
book one
will.
in London in 3-4 years, but it's going to be a gimmick. Do you know what I mean? What do you reckon?
I think it'll eventually happen, but not in my lifetime. Not in my lifetime while I'm on the taxis.
Yeah. I reckon it's going to be. I reckon it is. I reckon I'm going to see it. I reckon I'll be able to see it in London within 5 years. I really do. The testing it, the minibuses.
Too busy now. I just don't think.
I mean? But what I mean is, though, there might be like less than 20 of them for a company, and they're just like, you know, like, oh, we'll have this company with 20 cars and we'll run it for 10 years to see how it goes. Do you know what I mean? It'd be like a gimmick. It'd be like a tourist attraction. It won't be replacing private hire drivers nationwide. I can't see that happening for absolutely, like you say, years and years and years. Do you know what I mean?
No, I can't see it.
I think by the time that happens, no one will want to be a taxi driver anyway.
Now.
The way it's going.
Oh, mate, I'm actually so close. Like, not close to quitting. Like, I'm really pulling away from, or trying to pull away from, like, Uber and Alpha and general taxis, and just go, hopefully that airport's come in. But if they haven't, I've been like, I'm paying. My car at the moment is near £1,000 a month, just parked up. But it's dead cheap to run. But as I'm going on in this train, I'm starting to get a bit sick of it. I need something that's dead cheap parked up, but then I'm not asked if it's expensive to run because I'm doing less driving. Do you know what I mean? And I've actually been considering going back and getting something like a £5,000 Skoda Superb diesel, just be parked up on a drive, waiting for a job or need to go out if I need to. But I own a car, because if I own a car now in the taxis, I'll save £700 a month in finance. So I'll save nearly £200 a week and do absolutely no difference. Just still sat here. So I'm kind of tempted, and also I might get a high mile one for content. What's it like owning a high mile car on the taxis or whatever? You know, like a little angle. But what do you reckon to that? Do you reckon it's a good idea or a bad idea? Or I'm just thinking.
It's something that you need because you want to concentrate more on the content wise of things. But I also think for your channel, people like to see people in these big flash cars on the taxis. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
So
The only problem with that is what I'm struggling with is the parked up cost.
No, I get that, but I don't know.
You're not using.
I just don't know whether
you're paying for something that you're not using. That's what you're doing, aren't you?
Yeah. Or even just have a flipping flash car for our family car. Like at the moment, we're going to test a Model 3, which is the family car, which is my wife's car. Just upgrade that. Do you know what my hang-up is? I spoke to the accountants about it the other day. And with the finance costs rising, the APR, and they now know that all our cars are plated. As soon as you plate a car, you know it drops by 30-40% of value straight away. Do you know what I mean? I think going forward, if you're a full-time driver, you're better off settling. So that car problem's not your issue. And if you're a part-time driver like myself, try and get a car as cheap as chips.
Yeah.
But I think the settle's going to go up soon. I think the
settle's... You really think what the costs of settle's going up?
Yeah, if the finance things and everything are shooting through the roof, the settles are going to shoot through the roof as well.
Can you still comfortably earn a wage though with your settle rate at the moment, Mick? Or does it feel like you're chasing your tail a bit? Because it is a lot.
No, well, that's only because I don't enjoy doing the job. That's why I feel in that situation, because I'm just going out and doing what I have to do. I'm not putting extra away because I'm in the middle of, I don't enjoy the job. I'm in touching distance of changing career.
Yeah.
I've just got to get
through
the training.
It's so close. This new life, this new job.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just, for me, it's different. Whereas if my mindset was different and I knew I was in this job for foreseeable, and I enjoy going out and doing that job, then it'd be different. I'll be able to put more hours in than what I am. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas I'm going out and I'm like just earning what I have to get by, and then get me out of here. Whereas I know my career change, I'll be happy to go out and book this extra lesson in or book this in, and then I'm kind of on. I've got them hours that week, and I'm on a pretty much like set wage. I know what's coming in. Yeah, I might get cancellations here and there. What happened, and the hours differ a bit, but
mate, last week I didn't even cover my costs last week. That's how much I'm struggling with this flipping job, mate. I didn't even cover my costs. I reckon my expenses were more than my income last week. So something, I don't know what to do yet, but I'm still on the fence. But hopefully, like it's because I was quiet in the airport. Do you know what I mean? I had no grind to get out and just earn on thingies. Do you know what I mean? What do you reckon, Mark? Do you reckon settling, owning? You own yours outright, don't you? Or you financed up?
Financing it.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm just stuck in a rock and a hard place. Do you know what I mean? Like I need something I really don't want to go back to diesel, but I might have to, or get a cheap like second-hand electric car, like a 10 grand Model 3 or something.
Aren't you probably off your situation? Aren't you probably better off settling? Because then you.
I can't earn enough money to cover the settle, can I? See, my issue at the moment is like my car is there's more a similar price to a settle car now. Do you know what I mean? But it's got no hardly any running costs.
Now, how much would you? So if you went out and bought a car cash, so you don't owe it doesn't owe you anything, but your insurance, how much would insurance be a month? £200 a month?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you're settling, how much is settling with insurance? £230, £240 a week.
£1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So then, yeah. So technically, it would be like say £2 a month for insurance, parked up, £50 a week, and then obviously that's it really. Other than obviously me maintenance costs of like me plate and all that. Do you know what I mean? Then if I get an airport run, boop, 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 go out and do it, come back. Do you know what I mean? Or do a little shift or a content video or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And if I want a nice car, I'll just upgrade the family car from like a Model 3 to like a nice Model Y or something or whatever. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm just fighting over. Do you know what I mean? But I just don't know. But I've got this car anyway till October or so, end of the year anyway. So I'm just going to cross that bridge when I come to it. Listen, big news coming in as well. I need to let you know. I need to speak to you about what do you think of. And we know competition, and sometimes it can either be good competition or bad competition. Because if you have a competitor, you can either fight and battle and promote and build up and expand, or a competitor can be a race to the bottom, as we know. Do you know what I mean? He'll be cheaper, he'll be cheaper, he'll be cheaper, he'll be cheaper. Lyft has just purchased Free Now in Europe, which is give them a big foot in the door of Europe and the UK, right? So the big question I'm going to ask you guys is, Lyft is massive in America and one of Uber's main competitors in America, and they're coming to the UK. Will this be a good thing or a bad thing?
For us, for England, I think it's a bad thing because they say competition is good, which is fair enough.
Depends.
So what do they normally do when they do competition? They put it down their prices, but there's not enough work out there to do that. That's like all of it.
So do you reckon it's going to be a race to the bottom?
Yep.
I'm not sure about enough work. I think there's enough work. The only I think it can get bad if Lyft come in and lower the prices for a customer's perspective.
Can you really lower?
Exactly that. Are they going to take the same commission or in the same mindset as Uber as drain as much out of it?
Because how does Lyft work?
If they come in on a set commission, 20%, it could be good for us.
That'll be a big one. If they come in like a proper private hire company, not like Uber, and come in with a set fare structure with a set commission, like your Alpha, like your Deltas and all them, then it could be a good thing, couldn't it?
The thing is, that's exactly what Uber did when they first came in. Set percentage, 20%, 25%.
Yeah, that's only because they didn't win the court case of the workers' rights. It's the only way they couldn't actually do what they're doing now. They couldn't do it without winning that court case that ACDC started.
Do you reckon there'll still be set commission now if that court case never happened?
No.
100% it will. They couldn't have done it.
I don't think it would. If that court case ain't come in, I reckon they would have been in the same boat now. I'm
pretty sure, mate, they legally couldn't. That's why they needed the court case to get into classes as workers. Because before the court case, we were classed as private hire drivers, just like the local companies, just like your Alpha, just like your Delta. Do you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure, mate, they legally couldn't do it. That's why in America, that's what they're doing now is like they're doing in America. But when they first come over here, I'm pretty sure that they had the fare structure and the set rates and the set pricing and everything else to fall in line with private hire law. Do you know what I mean? And as soon as you lost that court case and we were classed as workers, then the whole scenario changed. I don't know if they've just benefited from that scenario. Do you know what I mean? Or what's called it? They've now done it because of the court case.
getting took to court was a blessing in disguise for Uber, wasn't it?
Yeah. So rumour is saying that they backed it. A lot of people have told me in the past when I've talked about stuff like this, if they backed it, they funded the court case for like ACDC to do it, to then give them the open doors. Because obviously, what do they want now? What are they fighting now? They're fighting Delta and Vizu because they want all private hire operators like they do to pay VAT.
Yeah.
Customer fare side. Because if Delta have to charge VAT on the fare, it'll outprice them massively compared to Uber's already cheap rates. And if they win the court case and every private hire company has to start charging VAT on the customer and not on the commission,
Yeah, but
then you've won. You've completed the game, mate.
no, I know, but they're not going to
And that's why
win.
they're
Though, are
fighting
they? They're not going to win that, though, are they? Because the Delta's not taking the fare. They're not officially taking the money through their banks.
You do on the prepaid app, or you do on the apps. Just like Uber. Same as Alpha's app. Alpha's app, you can pay in full on Alpha's app. And then what you call it? Alpha pays on a Wednesday, don't they? Other than the cash jobs, do you know what I mean? They are not completely commission based. They like, do you know what I mean? So what Uber's trying to say is, if we've got to do it, why aren't they doing it? And if they win, if Uber wins, that means most private hire companies that turning over more than 80k customer side will have to charge some customers VAT. Interesting, but like I said, is that what they've always wanted? Have they wanted to come in and manipulate the private hire law to get where they are now? Was this their end game all this time, or what? Who knows, mate? Who knows?
Probably.
You know what though?
Probably.
Talking about Uber and Bolt and Free Now and Addison Lee. So don't forget, guys, this is pre-recorded 9-10 days earlier. We're going to start recording a bit closer to when it goes live to be the content a bit more accurate. But the 1st of May, which is tomorrow when this is uploaded, but at the moment it's like 9-10 days away, the big national 24-hour strike is happening, guys.
Can't wait.
So Mick and Mark, I'm going to get my pickets out and my torch. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to be striking.
I've already started on my banner.
What?
I've already
Big banner?
started on my banner.
Yes. I'm going to paint it in blood, mate. I'm going to paint it in blood. Go away, get up my city. Do you know what I mean? Stop supplying me with work, you dirty supplier. That's all they are. They are a supplier of work. We are self-employed drivers, and Uber gives us work. I've said this. I've done a few TikToks this week about it, and I've said this loads, and I've done a big video saying, am I striking? Which is already live, by the way, on YouTube. Go check it out. But technically, what I've said in that video is literally that. Uber are a supplier of work. Am I right or am I wrong? You're a driver, aren't you, Mark? You receive work from multiple sources of your own choosing. And Mick, you're the same. Uber, Alpha, Delta, One Call, private hire companies, private hire operators, third party, OTS, all them are suppliers of work, yeah? And you are a private hire driver and you receive work from multiple suppliers. So am I saying this right or not? Is Uber's a supplier of work? If you're not happy with that supplier, just find another supplier or move on and be happy. Why are they trying to fight it? I can kind of understand. Like, look, the bins in Birmingham. Have you seen the bins in Birmingham?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bins. The streets are filled up to the brim of rubbish because the bin men are striking. And guess what's the big difference? They all striked.
Yeah, they did.
They're all employed on employment benefits, being paid off work right now to strike for better benefits and stuff like that, right? And also everyone's done it. So it's a big impact. There's rubbish piled high. 1st of May comes in. The strike happens, right? 24-hour strike. Is going to be a big impact? No. And many going to strike, do you think? No.
But they didn't last time, did they?
No. And guess what happens as well? Because you're asking people to go offline for 24 hours and not earn money. The strikers in Birmingham, they're getting paid because they're employed. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, I asked a question on TikTok and literally, I think 80% said, no, I'm not striking. What's on?
But do you think if they got vast numbers it would make a difference anyway.
What do you mean?
So, say if we all did strike,
Yeah.
and there was a good complete lockdown, and no, like basically Uber's system just didn't work for taxis.
Yeah.
Because a good amount of drivers have said, no, I'm not working today, I'm not working today, I'm not working today, I'm not working today. Do you think it'd make a difference?
No. Because they work the next day. And the multi-billion-pound company that's in countries all over the world are not going to miss one day offline or one day's income from one country. Well, how big's our country compared to a US state?
Oh, this is what
England
I'm getting at.
fits
Do you
in
think
one
it's going to make a
state.
difference? So what is the point in doing it anyway? Because it's not going to make a difference even if you got the numbers behind you to strike.
No. Look at Valentine's, prime example. We actually practiced, didn't we? I went live and people were trying to book a taxi in Sheffield. They were surrounded by drivers. London, surrounded by drivers. A couple of TikTokers went on strike, didn't he? They done videos, didn't he? There's about 7 of them outside the train station. No one turned up. Everyone worked. And it was like a 4 or 5 hour window on Valentine's. And literally every passenger got picked up and everything else. And I said this, I went, the people that are benefiting from these strikes are Uber, because they're getting surge commission.
Yep.
The unions, because they're getting more exposure, which means more people are signing up to them to their monthly retainer. The drivers who actually worked are all benefiting from the strikes. The people who aren't benefiting are the passengers that are paying higher rates and the drivers that are actually believing the cause and striking. Do you know what I mean?
This is the whole point. And this is the reason why 70% of the population of taxi drivers or Uber drivers don't strike.
Mate, they're not even on social media. People think that like this is going to make a difference to the thingy, or my TikTok that gets 10,000 views. 9,000 of those views are people on Mackie's just watching me videos because like they find it interesting or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm reaching even with my content flipping probably 0.5% of anything.
But then there's people that do this, and then 30 to 50% of your viewers are non-taxi drivers as well.
Potentially, by the way,
want to know what the trade's like to be a taxi driver.
Mate, honestly, but they only find me because they search for it and they want and find more info. And the amount of people that actually find me and say I don't want to be a taxi driver after watching your content, and that's not me. That's not me plan. That doesn't. It's just me. I give all the info out, where a lot of people don't give all the info out. You know what I mean? And that's the big difference. I give all the facts.
Anyone to be a taxi driver in this day and age, anyway.
I know, mate. I know. But you know what? I'm quite mad. Last strike, I done a video with the results, and so many people commented and went, "What strike?"
Yeah.
What are you on about? Didn't even heard of a strike. You know what I mean? The amount of drivers that are not on social media, that are not following likes of me and stuff like that, they haven't got a clue.
I reckon even if Uber put a message out on their system during the strike on the 1st of May, you still wouldn't get people.
Honestly, mate, even if Uber back then advertised it, honestly, I just don't get why. I understand the unions are doing it because otherwise, what's the point in being in the union? You know, if you're paying £10 a month for the union, like, why would you pay?
All Uber has to do, right, is just go, right, okay, I'll give you the 10. All Uber has to do if they thought, even if it was an inkling, they had an inkling that it's going to make an effect, all they do is just go, yeah, there's a promo, £10 extra for every job. You watch the drivers just go boom, 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 boom,
mate,
and log on.
Mate, last time the strike was, what was it, 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. or something? It was like a 4-hour window in a busy period. Mate, the day was chocker. Because everyone was offline waiting to work the evening because they thought it was going to be busier because of the strike. Honestly,
I just don't understand the mentality that they think that's going to make it. And then wasn't they all like made up with the result of the last strike, and it wasn't? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of them said that they made a massive impact.
If it made any impact at all, we would have seen a promo, or we would have seen surge.
The biggest impact will be if you get the customers on board. Just say to the customers, don't book an Uber between 4 and 8 on a specific time.
Yeah.
And if you reckon the customers going to do that?
No, but But the thing is, think out of the box. That's the only way they can hurt Uber's pockets is if every passenger.
I don't reckon you can hurt Uber's pockets. I just don't reckon it's like me
Not
going,
bothered.
right, guys, do us a favour, on the 1st of May, don't order anything from Amazon.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
Don't order anything from Amazon, yeah? Let's all not order it from Amazon, right? And let's make a stand, and then Amazon will feel the pain. Do you know what I mean? It's just nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's just. But obviously, because do what I'm doing with the content and stuff, there's like so many comments and people message me and go like, strike, and are you going to strike and stuff like that. Myself personally, guys, I will not be working on the 1st of May, only because I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of people who are trying to make a change and stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's just my personal opinion. And also, I've got to be doing what I do with the news and everything else. I want to kind of be.
He strikes every day of the week.
Matty goes on strikes and goes out.
Hey, I was trying to get a good speech there to get people behind me. Oh, look at Matty not striking because he's showing support. Mick just comes in and goes, "You strike every day, Matty." True.
Yeah,
I'm kind of like, I'm hating the job at the moment. But what do you say, Mark?
Just saying, he's not wrong.
No,
you strike by going out to work.
Lads, I'm flipping. I mean, like, being overdraft and everything at the moment, it's killing me. And then I go, like, I need to go out, me. And I just
90 minutes, and that's it. It's going home game.
Oh, mate, I can't do it. I've tried a million times, mate. I've tried a million times. Honestly, I'm really struggling with it, mate. But, like, people are saying, like, oh, because of Uber and all that. It's not just because of Uber. I tried going out Alpha, and I go online.
You're lazy.
Hey, I'll drop off in town after an airport run, and I go online in Alpha, and it'll be like Q4 to 4, which is like a standard queue. Yeah, I'm not like slagging them off, but I sit there and go offline, drive home. Do you know what I mean? Or go on next day. I'll drop off in town, go online in Uber, and there'd be no smog. There'd be nothing. It was white as a sheet. Sit there for about 4 seconds and go.
I just stick around if I don't get a job straight. I find myself I move quite. My wheels are turning most of the time. To be fair,
we've talked about this, though, Mick, with being a bit of a shit pile, bit of a poo pile with the Uber and stuff. And there's like people who like yourself are generally going out every single day and working. Usually getting more favoured because there's been loads of times, mate, when I've gone online and I've had the job offer in half an hour or something, and someone WhatsApp me and go, "Bloody hell, get out, Matty! I'm round yours, mate. Jock and get loads of jobs." I'm like, lad, tried for an hour there, lad. I didn't get a flipping single offer. And he's like, bing, 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 bing. Do you know what I mean? I just think it is. It's just years of just cherry picking, or years of not really working and just periodically working. Do you know what I mean? I just think Uber's going to prioritise the hard workers and the ones that are working more than others. I think because they want to keep you happy, Mick. Because you're the one that's taking their customers, aren't you?
Yeah, but you must be able to break that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. If they had the heart and the determination and the grind.
You saying your wheels are turning, you're quite you're quite busy. What's your acceptance rate?
50%.
That's actually not bad. Yeah, as an example, literally the only time I've really worked Uber is when I've done the video of a week on work until my lecky runs out. That was a Sunday, and mate, I was waiting like sometimes an hour for a job offer, driving around and everything else. Like most of my lecky was driving around looking for a job on that shift. And if I didn't get that 30 quid there to finish the shift, I would have finished on about £16 an hour for the full 9-10 hours I was out.
See, the problem is you can go out. I know you can cherry pick Uber, right? I know that for a fact, and it's even better when you've got XL. You can cherry pick even better. But for me, if I sit there and try and cherry pick, and I get to even half an hour, and I've rejected 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 jobs, and I'm getting to the half an hour point, and I'm thinking, hang on, if I'm only in another half hour or another hour here trying to get the best job, I could have earned 30 quid taking these jobs. Do you know what I mean? I just haven't got the mentality to sit in my car outside my house at work.
Yeah.
No, wait. Don't want that. Don't want to earn any money.
That's what I'm trying to get at, mate. On that shift, I weren't cherry picking. I was out working. I was literally just working. I was accepting any job that was nearby me. I was doing jobs that weren't accepting as the ones that were far away from me. And I think at the end, when I finished the shift, it was like, 15 jobs done, 20 jobs offered. It went even like crazy. It was just so dead on that random Sunday. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, though, me going out now saying it's dead would probably not be a relevant thing to say, because I might not be dead. It might not just be dead for me, because I do really think I'm at the bottom of the pile when it comes to Uber's algorithm. Do you know what I mean? I bet you any money if me and you meet up randomly next week for a coffee or a cafe and we park next to each other, I reckon you'll either get the job offered first, or I don't reckon I'd even get the job offered to me.
It's out
I
of
really
order.
think that, Mick.
It's out of order. And I'd be determined, if I was you, to break that.
I just can't be arsed, Mick.
I would. I'd have to.
Oh, by the way, if that's another clip, I'm going to kill you. Because every time someone says they can't be bothered, they put that little clip in the WhatsApp group. Don't you? You know what it is? It's me going like that. Can't be arsed, lad. Honestly, I'm going to kill you if that happens again. But yeah,
I just can't be arsed working.
I'm feeling, mate. You know when you're going towards you've got your driving instructor thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Mark, you've got your airports is your go-to thing. Mix your driving instructor thing. My thing, I feel like going forward is my content. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's where it is, because a lot of my focus and my ideas and my energy goes into content creation and creating new articles and the blog and stuff. I've just started the travel and tourism blog on DM Airport Transfers to try and help and promote the DM Airport Transfers, get more bookings and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So all my energy and spare energy goes into content. So if I'm driving around and I'm not getting on and I've been out for an hour or it's dead, I'm like, I could be going home in and creating new articles and new content.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think that's where my energy and focus goes to, unfortunately. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? And like I said, I've been doing it for a few years now, and it's massively changed since I've started. And I just see the whole thing in a bit of a like, oh, do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's one of them. But listen, one thing I want to finish the podcast on is, I know a lot of people slag off the electric cars. I'm a big electric fan, and I can tell you right now, I know the comments are going to be different if I actually go back into a diesel, just for my own benefit, by the way, of being cheap packed up. I will still definitely be an EV fan. But a lot of people say to me, oh, the EV thing's gone now, it's dead, it's dying, it's not growing, and nothing like that. I just wanted to let you all know that an article released this week, DM News, by the way, 40%, is it 40% of cars, 40% sales are up from previous year's sales. 40% of electric car sales are up this year. So it's definitely growing. And I don't mean, obviously, Tesla's got hated over Elon and Trump and all that. What about just all, like BYD's flying? Do you know what I mean?
So you're saying it's 40% up from last year?
Yeah.
Is that because of what the government announced last year about putting back all cars being built got to be electric by a certain date? Is that why? And now it's ironed out.
Possibly, yeah.
News.
Possibly. It's either that, or there's a lot more car manufacturers now selling EVs like crazy. Yeah. Like Kia and Hyundai are bringing in boss cars now. The EV5, the EV6, the EV9, Hyundai Ioniqs are coming out the 5 and everything else. I just seen that, man. He's just like, oh. Do you know what I mean, though? I think the electric BYDs, everyone's going mad over the BYDs. Do you know what I mean? Like the seals and all the mad names, the sea line, the blue whales, and whatever they're called, sharks. They're all coming out and they're looking good. The Polestars has brought out a Polestar 4, which is like an SUV. So there's loads of new cars coming out. The Ford Teneo, I've seen the Ford Teneo. We covered that last podcast, I think.
Yeah.
The full electric mini bus. So
I'm undecided. I'm phoning this up this week because my instructors advised me to.
What?
To what car should I get for my driving instructor?
What's he said?
What's an offer? What are you thinking? Can you pick the car?
I go to the company. No, there's only a limited thingy. So if I go on it now, I'll have a thingy. I'm thinking, have you seen the Ford Pumas?
The Ford Pumas. Yeah, the EMAC. No.
They're like SUVs, aren't they?
Yeah. It's the ones that replace like the Kia, the Ford Cougar, and it's similar to that.
Yeah, similar. And that's what I'm thinking because of the price of wise and things like that. Like if I go on and search now, there's
What are your choices? Because what I was going to say to you, Mick, right, is if
an
you're looking
Audi
at moving
Q2.
house, can you go electric?
Yeah, but I don't want to. I don't want to commit to an electric car and then not end up finding an house with a drive.
True.
Oh, that's
It is
fine.
something.
Because
It is something that I
I've
am
just been
looking
stupid.
for.
I've just been stupid there. You're going to have the car before your house, aren't you?
Yeah, it is something that I do want. We do want to. I want a driveway. I want a garden when we go for the new house. That is something that we are looking for. But because we're on a time frame, we don't know what we're going to end up with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you get a car, are you stuck in it for years, or is it just like a rental?
No, it's 3-year lease that I'll be going into. But I'm on the fence. Like, do I buy one? Because if I don't, if I buy one and I don't fully pass out at the end of the year when I'm expected my next test, I can just pull the dual controls off
Yeah.
and plate it as a taxi.
Ah. But wait, I thought you said you can rent them or settle them.
That's what the lease is.
Oh, it's got a 3-year minimum on them.
Yeah, but you can. It's not. You can give it back.
Oh,
Do you
that's
know what I
all
mean?
right
It's not. The contract is kind of over the like a 3-year thing, and then they'll look to put you in a different vehicle if you wanted to lease
I
again
get
and
you.
blah
I
blah.
get you.
But you can always just hand it back. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
What did you have, Mark? I know obviously it was back in the day, like so it's probably like an old car. But what car did you have on the?
I started off with a Fiesta. Then I went into a Citroen C4. And then I finished off in an Audi A3.
There's a seat.
That's a good point, actually, Mick. When you're picking your car, mate, is certain people don't like big cars or driving big cars. Even now, when he passed the test, if they're looking at a driving instructor and he pulls up in an SUV, are you sure they're going to be like, "Oh, I can't go with you, mate"? Wouldn't it be better for you to get like a little Fiesta or an A-Class or something dead small?
There's an i30.
I'll tune on your knees there, like.
I don't know. I've never. This is the problem.
what,
I've never sat
i30s?
in things like that.
I-30s are tiny.
I-30s are like an Astra
No, I
size.
thought an I-30 is like.
That's an I-20, a smaller one.
I know. I thought the I-30 was like a Fiesta.
There's
No,
a
that's an
Nero
i20,
EV
that.
estate.
My neighbour's got one, an I-20. My neighbour's got one, an I-20. They're like the size of a Fiesta. I-30s are Astra size.
Oh yeah. Mark's right. Look at that, Mick.
Mazda 3.
There's an I-30, mate.
I-30's all right.
I was going to say
Yeah.
I've got a picture of. Got
Do you
pictures
know the
of them.
thing is, though, mate? I'm pretty sure the
can't
Puma.
judge the prices. You can't judge the sizes from them. Do you know what I mean?
No.
But I've seen the Pumas, mate, and they are pretty. Do you know what? Looking at the
I've
pictures,
seen
they're
the
not as big
Pumas
as
on the
everyone.
road. The nice little compact SUVs. I don't think
No,
anyone
they are.
would have a problem.
Hey, they're like a little. Do you know what they look like? A Nissan, not
Pony.
a Qashqai, Duke.
Yeah.
They look like a Nissan Duke, I think, like a little
There's
SUV. What?
There's a Focus as well that I could choose
Focus
from.
is that classic learner car, mate. You couldn't go wrong with the Focus. Like I think I learned in the Focus, mate, back 20 years ago.
They're doing
sunroof.
Audi A3s as well.
Mate, honestly, my issue is I really struggled when I was learning to drive and stuff. I struggled with the size of me. Do you know what I mean? Like physically, mate, you should see me in a Focus, lad. Honestly, me hamstrings are just like stretched out because me foot's like that on the pedal. Do you know what I mean? Because my legs are too long. Honestly, it's a joke, mate. That's why I'm kind of jealous of the taxi drivers in these tiny cars.
Kia
Because like
XCs
if I was
as
a
well,
tiny
they're
person
nice,
and you
aren't
get
they?
one of them, you'd print money. Imagine me getting a flipping 2015 plate Focus or a Fiesta. I wouldn't fit in it, but do you know what I mean? What about money wise? Hey, you'd make a killer, mate. Buy a 1,500 quid.
Yeah.
Under 1,000 a mile. 1,500 quid cash.
Can't you have an operation? Have your legs shorter?
It's not even that, mate. It's the size of me. It's like me width and everything about me. It's a big, wide and gangly, aren't I? You know what I mean? But to be honest, mate, when I was looking at like cheap second-hand cars, I was looking at like the Superb again, mate. You can get a 16-plate Superb with about 130 fat one, 140 fat one, for £4,000, £5,000, and they're massive. Then leather wig, good spec, got all the bells and whistles, great for the airports.
There's a lad that works on the privates. Does work for the firm I do jobs for. He's just bought a 19-plate Superb, 125,000 miles, 6-year-old, and he paid about £7,000 for it.
Exactly, mate. That's a lot of car. I paid 40 grand for mine, 5 years old. Do you know what I mean? So I'm used to a big fat finance. Yeah. So even if I got a 7 grander of finance, I'll pay 700 quid a month for 10 months. Then after the 10 months, the car's mine. It doesn't owe me anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then I'll keep putting the 700 quid a month away. And then after the 700 quid a month away, I can start putting that away for my next car or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I just think with my scenario, just going forward, I think I just need something parked up, me. Cheaper, but like, I'm not bothered about if it's dead high on the juice compared to electric, because I won't be getting drove as much, do you know what I mean? Like now, last week, mate, that car was costing me $240 a week. It was parked up last week, and I think I've done 2 or 3 little airports. But I reckon I put 200 quid, 220 quid last week, or whatever it was. Not much, like literally broke even, mate. Where if I had a cheap like thing that didn't owe me anything, I probably would have still profited 150 quid, 100 quid. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, well listen guys, it is 11:05, and Marcus has got another little airport run because he's a grafter. And I think we'll call it a day. What do you reckon, peeps? You happy? All done?
Yep.
Nick? Mark?
All good.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah, good podcast. Loads of info. Right, don't forget, guys, check out drivermatty.com. All things moi. Yeah, just check that out and like and subscribe and all that stuff. And yeah, going forward, guys, we're going to be doing the podcast a little bit closer to the live date because it's just a good point of the fact that over the last few weeks we've talked about stuff that's not even relevant when this goes live. You know what I mean? We've talked about stuff during the podcast, and it was like, well, the first time we noticed it was with Mark and Ramadan. We're at Mark.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. We were talking about Ramadan.
Yeah.
And then it went live 10 days later, and people were like, mate, you're talking about Ramadan? It was flipping last month. So we're going to make the videos closer to the upload time anyway, to make me a bit more relevant.
Happy days.
Well, thanks again for Mick. Thanks again for Mark for tuning in. Much appreciated. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
That was a good one, guys. What do you reckon?